The screen that you see in front of you is a generative AI platform called Styler.ai, which I've already covered in one of my earlier videos. Now, I was demonstrating the capabilities of Styler.ai to a group of IT professionals. And somebody asked a question. The discussion that followed that question, it became obvious to me that there are aspects of deep learning which are poorly understood even amongst the IT professionals. Thus this video. So the image that you see on the screen is an image that I took in my lounge. And once I upload it, I have the capability within the platform that I can describe that image. Now, once the auto prompt completes its job, let's take a look at the details which the foundation model was able to unearth. So to begin with, the image shown an interior room with a focus on wall-mounted television, which is correct, and a decorative item resembling a compass rose. We'll talk about it shortly, which is positioned above the TV. To the left of the frame, there appears to be a bookshelf handling various items including books and possibly some decorative objects or trophies. So far so good, you can see the books as well as some of the trophies which are above the shelf. Let's move forward. The room has a natural color scheme with white walls, and there is ceiling fan visible in the upper part of the image. There is no text present in the image that provides additional context or information. So once I demonstrated this capability, a guy asked the question, how can we improve the accuracy of object detection? Clearly, the system was unable to accurately identify the wall clock, and rather it identified as a decorative item resembling a compass rose. My response to that question led to a larger discussion around foundation models, and part of the discussion also surrounded the debate that maybe over the past decade, we collectively may have contributed towards training of such foundational models. Now, I want to highlight that precisely I'm not suggesting that the foundation model, which is used by Styler.ai behind the scene, has been trained in such a way, but the concept nonetheless applies. And that is something which we'll explore today. You see, the reason of my claim that that individual boy or millions of people across the globe might have helped the deep learning model or foundation model get better and better is CAPTCHA. And I'm sure if you have surfed the internet, whether browsing a website or filling up a form, you have been presented with CAPTCHA like these. So let's take into account this particular image, which the foundation model was able to unearth some of the details of, and see that if we try to identify the objects within this image through conventional models, how would that look like? We can see that there are 5 major objects which are inside this particular image. Now, using some of the conventional models like template matching or support vector machines, we are able to identify few of these objects with a greater accuracy. You can see all 4 of these objects are identified with a good accuracy level, which is above 70% or so. But if you see the right-hand object, the wall clock, using the conventional models like template matching, it is very difficult to identify these objects and properly label them. You see, even in Styler.ai, this particular wall clock was identified as a rose-shaped decoration piece. So from a traditional algorithm perspective, we are either unable to identify that object or properly label it, or maybe identify it as a wall clock but with a very low accuracy rate. So I'll take this image and I'll demonstrate that if we are able to take help of CAPTCHA, how we would be able to train our model better. So the idea is that we'll take this image and we'll present it to the users as CAPTCHA. And of course, you have seen examples like these where we are to identify a particular object in a CAPTCHA. So the individual will go ahead and identify those particular blocks. But we need to take a step back and see that the CAPTCHAs which were presented to us in the beginning of the days, how have they evolved over time? So back in the days, we were presented with CAPTCHAs like these, where you would be presented with an image of a text. Then we move to either the alphanumeric characters or handwritten characters. So every time we solved one of these CAPTCHAs, we actually helped a machine learning model behind the scene to get better. The CAPTCHAs then got sophisticated. We are presented with images and we are to identify particular objects within those images. Could be buses, cars, humans, birds, and others. And nowadays, we are mostly presented with CAPTCHAs like these, where we are to identify the crosswalk or pavements. And if you consider, primarily we are helping the machine learning model or the deep learning model have a special understanding of the 3D space. And there is a possibility that by selecting these crosswalks or bridges, you are helping machine learning model, which is the likes of autopilot of Tesla. So the point I want to make is that you and I are already part of the matrix. We may already be helping these machine learning model get better. But where do we move forward from here? Let's consider the same example of the image that we just uploaded. So once we have identified the blocks which make up the clock, we can even present the clock to the end user and say, identify the time which is in the clock. And this way, we might be helping a deep learning model to decipher how to read an analog clock. Once millions of users are able to provide that information, the model may get better. And where is the culmination of all this? So other than this wall clock, there is another object which is of grave importance. I'm talking about the shelf. But in the current resolution, the text of the books is not readable. But there are algorithms which are able to deblur it or sharpen the image for make the content readable. And I'm not talking about Sufism and Taoism. I'm talking about the text which is very readable. But if I enlarge it, you can see the portion of this text can be extracted. And then just like the CAPTCHA that you saw earlier, that could be presented to an end user who would then help identify what is the actual word. And say this CAPTCHA is presented to 20 people and all of them provide the same response. We can safely say that the accuracy of identifying this word correctly is high. There are some social and legal implications of this, which I'll talk about in another video. And some simplification was intentionally employed just to explain the concept better. I hope you like it, and I'll be back with another AI video. Thank you.